Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a psychological horror film, Escape Room. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The film begins with a man looking around in a dim secret chamber. With many lucky efforts, he finally finds his way out. However, there is a strange checkerboard on the front door, with the writing at the end of story. The man does not give up, and continues to solve the puzzle. As time passes, the walls of the chamber begin to converge towards the center. Finally, the man, who fails to crack the secret code of the chamber, is completely squeezed into a corner by the constricted chamber. With a scream of despair, the story unfolds 3 days before the game begins. On a fine day morning, Jason, a business manager, receives a puzzle cube. Jason cannot think of who would send him such a gift. At the same time, Zoe, who is an intelligent college student, and Ben, who works in the supermarket, also receive the same puzzle cube. As they are usually interested in the decryption type of games, they quickly crack the code to open the cube. An invitation card is hidden in the mysterious cube, inviting them to participate in an escape room game. Whoever passes through all the trials will be rewarded with $10,000. Needless to say, all of them are tempted to go buy the reward. At the appointed time, Ben arrives at the company and bumps into a blonde girl nicknamed Blonde, who is a former soldier. When they register at the company counter with their ID, they are told to surrender their mobile phones. Blonde takes the lift, together with a young man who claims to be an escape game expert, called Expert for short. And then they move to the room where all other participants gather. The sixth participant is a pudgy truck driver with smelly beards, nicknamed Messy Beard. While waiting for the game to start, they get to know more about one another. None of them knows why they are selected for the game. As no staff comes to greet them, Ben cannot sit still. He wants to go out of the room for a cigarette. However, when he tries to open the door handle falls off. Messy Beard steps forward to see what happens. Expert suddenly shouts with excitement that the game has started. According to Expert, the riddle written on the handle is a clue left for them. The rest are set to look for more clues in the room. Soon after, Messy Beard discovers a book with a hidden key in the middle of it. Zoe finds a clue that says number 451. She twists the dial on the door into place. Just when everyone thinks that the game is already over, their troubles just start. Once unlocked, scorching rays appear around the room and on the ceiling. Seconds later, the escape room turns into a fiery furnace. Blonde reaches out to the customer service beside the room. However, no matter what she says, the staff only tells her to wait a moment. Expert says that now they must search for more clues, but Ben feels rather irritated and resorts to putting out the rays with a fire extinguisher. To his surprise, the fire extinguisher is nothing but a model. At this point in time, Zoe spots a key attached to the fire extinguisher. This could be the key to the customer service counter. She tries it with the lock, and it works. To their shock, there is no one at the customer service counter, except a sexy robot. What is worse, their actions trigger another mechanism of the room. Immediately after, all windows are shut tightly. The temperature increases sharply. Blonde is filled with frustration. Zoe observes that Blonde has a huge scar on her back. That is her old injury during her military service. Now that the temperature is shooting up, the wound hurts even more. Learning her pain, Zoe gets a bottle of water for Blonde and finds another clue on a table. It reads Dr. Wooten says, "Please use the coasters at all times." Zoe is shrewd to realize that the 6 coasters contain mechanisms, so each of them presses on one coaster. Right after that, a passage is revealed on the ceiling. It is so narrow that only one man could pass it through. Jason is the first to go. He comes back with the report that the exit is blocked. Messy Beard finds a screwdriver and pries it open. So the 6 of them climb up one by one. To ensure the mechanism remains working, they place a cup of water on each coaster. However, Zoe then realizes the water supply is cut. They only have 5 cups filled. When they feel anxious for the last coaster, Messy Beard fills the cup with his wine. Having done all that, Ben and Expert get into the passage. Immediately after, the room is swallowed by raging flames. As they escape the deadly attack by the skin of their teeth, they come to realize such threats are part of the game. At the end of the passage is another escape room in the jungle. Jason manages to find the key, but he cannot unlock the door. Expert speculates that they need to first solve the password. With extensive searching, Ben finds some letter mechanism on the wall and spells the correct word. That way, he is able to open the door and let the rest out. When the five evade the room elatedly, the door automatically shuts, leaving Ben in it alone. This is a clear signal to show them the current test is not finished. What lays before them is a frosty forest, with the piercing wind lashing on them mercilessly. They first cuddle together to fight against the cold. Later, they split up to search for clues, so that they can leave this place as soon as possible. Blonde finds a thick coat, and gives it to Zoe, who is shivering. She does that to return her favor. At this time, Ben accidentally breaks the ice on the lake, revealing a hole. Just when everyone feels puzzled, Messy Beard gladly introduces the fishing rod that he discovers on a tree. Zoe finds a compass on the coat she wears, and a piece of wood bearing the message, "True North is a lie." Combining the two clues, she uncovers a key from the polar bear statue. And then, they dip in the fishing rod, to get a secret box from the hole. They are positive that the key hidden in the secret box would allow them to open the cottage. At that moment, an accident takes place. When Expert bends down to pick up Ben's lighter, the ice cracks, and he drops into the lake. Looking at the bottomless lake, they feel sad for the Expert suffering like a dead fish, but with no hope to rescue him. Racing against the clock, they put their hands together to thaw the frozen secret box, despite the great coldness. Sometime later, with their joint efforts, the ice finally melts to give way for the key. To their disappointment, the key does not work and everyone falls into despair. Now night falls, the temperature continues to plunge. When everyone worries about dying in the cold, Zoe discovers a new pathway. At once, they all dash to the gateway. At the same time, the bombs hidden in the lake blast suddenly. Fortunately, the five survivors cross the lake before it collapses. The new stop is a billiard room. Upon arrival, each of them starts to look for hints. Ben is sharp to notice that the number 8 billiard ball is missing. Messy Beard continues to move forward carelessly, but the floor suddenly cracks. Ben grabs him in a pinch, saving his messy life. Now that they understand the billiard room is upside down. Everything is inverted. Noting the risk, the participants sticks their backs to the wall, taking each step with extreme care. Right then, the agile blonde discovers a safe in a corner. But no one is able to solve the password. Zoe finds a puzzle on the wall. She firmly believes that the password is related to the puzzle. So she plucks up the courage to climb over to the danger zone to solve the puzzle. Zoe was almost killed in a plane crash. Back then, she survived by staying in the upside-down wreckage. With that experience, she successfully completes the reverse jigsaw puzzle and derives the password to be 1086. Shortly after, Blonde opens the safe with the password and retrieves the number 8 ball. And then, a pathway leading to the door is revealed. The room is full of trap mechanisms. Blonde decides to take the risk alone. She attempts to get close to the door, but the number 8 ball drops halfway through. Regardless of the danger, she has to jump to the ground to get the ball. Now, the only remaining tile collapses. In a pinch, throws the ball to Jason, before she falls into the abyss, killing herself. The rest watches the tragedy in shock and despair, but they know they have to continue with the game. The 4 survivors enter a surgery room. A few casebooks are found on the table. What is shocking, the casebooks showcase the medical records themselves. It turns out that all the 6 selected participants have luckily survived disasters in their life. Jason survived a shipwreck, Blonde experienced an explosion, Ben escaped from a car accident, Messy Beard survived a mining accident, and Expert experienced gas poisoning. Therefore, it is now clear that the game master wants to put the 6 lucky survivors into a real life-threatening test. Right then, a 5-minute countdown suddenly appears on the television, indicating that poisonous gas will be released when the time is up. At once they focus on gathering more information. X-ray photos are the first things they study. Zoe deduces from the gesture on the photo that the code to open the channel is obtained by detecting the highest value on the electrocardiograph. So Messy Beard volunteers to exercise, but his heart rate is not high enough. At this time, the countdown is coming to an end. Jason begins to act selfishly. Despite other group mates' objections, he uses a defibrillator on Messy Beard. Under an electric shock, Messy Beard finally suffocates to death due to the high voltage. However, Jason does not regret it at all. Poisonous gas is already released. Having survived cold seas in the past, Jason takes off his clothes to stimulate his heart rate, and then uses the code to climb to the entrance alone. Jason's true color is revealed, and Ben is very disappointed. Zoe seems to make some new discoveries, and smashes the monitor in the room. Unfortunately, she starts fainting from inhaling toxic fumes. Seeing the gas all around her, she tells Ben to leave herself alone. At last, Ben enters the passage without Zoe. Next, what awaits Ben and Jason is a mysterious room. As both of them inhaled toxic gas, they begin to hallucinate when they look at those psychedelic scenes. The two set out to find a cure in a twisted world. With strong willpower, Ben has got hold of the cure, but it is only enough for one person. To ensure his own survival, Jason attacks Ben suddenly. Enraged by this selfish and heartless man, Ben retaliates. The two wrestle together. During the fight, Jason accidentally knocks his head open and passes out. And then, Ben takes the panacea to enter the last station, the moving room at the beginning of the film. Cornered, the desperate Ben finds a hidden fireplace. Like this, fortunately, he passes through all the trials and meets the game master in the control room. Ben learns from their conversation that this game is exquisitely designed as a reality show, broadcast to the tycoons. They enjoy watching the participants risking their lives to escape each room and bet on the winner. Game Master is very surprised to see Ben overcoming all the tests. In fact, he expects Jason to make it till the end. When Ben demands a proper explanation, Game Master suddenly strangles him and prepares to kill him. Ben totally does not see that coming. Though he struggles, he cannot free himself from the hands of the evil one. In a pinch, Zoe shows up out of nowhere and shoots Game Master, saving Ben. It's revealed that at the toxic gas room, when Zoe almost fainted, she obtained an oxygen mask. So when the staff came to clear the mess, she put them down and evaded through the gateway. In the end, Zoe rescues Ben and enlists the police's help. However, when the police officers arrive at the company, Game Master and his staff are long gone. As toxic gas is found in Ben and Zoe's bodies, the police officer suspects that the whole thing is merely a hallucination of the two. What is worse, the corpse of expert, messy beard, blonde, and Jason also disappear. Sometime later, Ben and Zoe are able to lead a simple and peaceful life. But Zoe still remembers the game. One day, she initiates a meet with Ben and tells him that the deaths of their partners are covered up by the perfect lies of the company. Zoe manages to track down the head office of this heinous company. It is located in New York. And then, she presents 2 air tickets, one for herself and the other for Ben. She asks Ben to join her in pursuing the truth. Meanwhile, a plane crashes as being set up by the sadistic game company. They actually set up such an experiment to lure Ben and Zoe. At last, the ultimate mastermind of the program appears to announce that a more exciting game will now begin. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Peace out.